Oh my god, look at how hard she's trying. She's so unbelievably cringe, so weird. She tries so hard. She's not even that hot. I heard she's a terrible neighbor. You might be asking yourself, what the hell is going on with your background? Is this a safe space for me to bully you? I'm actually even a little scared to make this video because I'm kind of scared of you girlies on Reddit. Because what the hell is going on over there? What are y'all doing? I've said over and over before how much I actually kind of love Reddit because of how much of an anomaly it is. Which now that I think about it, I'm not even sure if I feel that strongly about it anymore. Because I feel like it attracts a certain personality type that might be more inclined to complain. But that's not all Reddit is used for, as some of you know very well. Because every now and again, you'll be scrolling your timeline on Reddit and you'll come across a little page called something Snark. Maybe you were looking into that specific influencer because they had some kind of controversy going on surrounding them. And sometimes you're not in the mood to watch a 2-hour video essay going into their entire lore. So you, curiously, tap on their little Snark pages and you go there to see what the girls are saying. What did this influencer do? You're just a journalist trying to get in the know, you know? However, when you get on the page, you realize, oh, some of you bitches are crazy. So a Snark page is basically kind of like a gossip page on Reddit. It's usually dedicated to talking about controversy either from a specific influencer or a specific city. For example, there's like LA influencer Snark pages and like NYC influencer Snark pages. And then there's also specific influencers' name Snark pages. And if any of you Snark fiends are watching this right now, hey, this is just a joke. The word snark literally means critical or mocking comments made in an indirect or sarcastic way. And I'll be honest with you, from the time that I spent researching for this video and the time that I spent on some of these Snark pages, I would be interested to see where the sarcastic part is coming from because I think these people are serious as a heart attack. But what makes these Reddit Snark pages a little bit weird and different from just simply discussing controversy surrounding any influencer or like any standard commentary or call out type content is the fact that most of these people are actually not calling out a specific controversy that these people had. They are just being
quintessential
award-winning haters. Now, most of the influencers I would say that have a Snark page usually have had some controversy in their past. Like they've been canceled for something at some point in time. If you stumble across a Snark page of someone that you either don't know or don't keep up with, good luck actually trying to find the original controversy. Because the girls on the Snark page have been hating on them for so long at this point that whatever the original controversy was is actually so lost, we are bathing in actual just haterade. I've long believed that the parasocialism that exists between like celebrity and audience is kind of multiplied 10x as it pertains to influencers. And I don't necessarily think that's a fault of the audience. I think it's just kind of a natural thing that has to happen given the way influencing works. With influencing, the premise of the job, especially for the kind of people who make lifestyle vlog type of content, means kind of feeding into the parasocialism a little bit. And I don't think it's inherently wrong. I think it's just kind of a tenet of the job. Influencers are spending a lot more one-on-one time with their audience than celebrities probably ever will or ever do. You probably see some of your favorite influencers more often than you see some of your family. But in this video, I kind of want to separate it, I guess, into two parts. I want to talk about the Snark pages, and I'm going to read you some stuff that I saw on some of the Snark pages that I landed on. But I also want to talk about the people, ... that are almost exclusively women on these pages and why they have kind of a very antisocial energy about them and why I low-key feel like these spaces are almost kind of comparable to the red pill spaces that men end up in. Caveat, obviously, I'm not saying they are the same because I don't believe that the women on Reddit Snark pages are like inclined to be violent towards any of these influencers that they hate. But there's something similar in the congregation of a bunch of people partaking in what is extremely antisocial behavior that is clearly coming from something more internal that maybe they just haven't unpacked yet. So let's dive in, besties. So I ended up on several Reddit Snark pages. There is some real true hatred and disdain that a lot of these young girls have for their favorite influencers, which also, just gonna add, all of the Snark pages that I ended up on were also women influencers. And the point of this video is not to get into the lore of all these people, because I'll be so for real, I don't know if I remember all of it, but I want to read you some of the examples of posts that I was seeing on their Snark pages, because I want to highlight how much which their actual controversies and lore don't seem to play a part in what people are saying about them now today. I think that the reasons that they've been canceled in the past is actually just an excuse that a lot of girls on these pages use to justify what is just cyberbullying. You are completely in your right to dislike any influencer you so please. But I think it's worth calling out that if you don't like a person, it is actually so easy to not engage with them. Because you know what? The internet is so big, so wide, so vast, and so full of people that you can quite easily ignore your least favorite influencer if you so please. It's mental illness, love. And I'm gonna read you some of the ones that I found, but I'm not gonna say the names of these people because I'm not sure how old they are. And if I'm being so honest with you, I'm frankly hoping that they're under 25 so that I can at least give them the benefit of the doubt that the frontal lobe hasn't clicked in yet, and that's why. Otherwise, I don't know. Doing this with a whole frontal lobe?
I can't.
I'm not a gatekeeper, but God, she makes me want to be one. Leave the fake plastic trees alone, bitch. Edit. To let everyone know that my last line was sarcastic. It's just unfortunate to literally have the same interest with this bitch, Lamau. So I'm gonna describe it to you so I can give you some context without showing you which snark I'm on and who said it. This comment was posted under a photo of her in a room and there's plants behind her. I'm not sure how this person can tell that they're fake, but listen, I'm not the fake plant gatekeeper. They are, so there's so many layers to it, but you can just see at its base, this is just some hater ass shit. Who gives a f? There is so many comments on a lot of these pages about these girls' appearance, which in my opinion, I genuinely don't know if I think that you can ever have strong feelings towards someone else's appearance that doesn't have something to do with how you feel about your own appearance. I don't understand why someone else's face could deeply bother you so much unless you hate yourself. Oh, I also came across something that I think is popular on multiple Snark pages, which is called Snark Bingo Predictions. And the idea of this game, I guess, is people on the Snark, based on said influencer's previous behavior, making predictions about the future of this person's life and all the things that might go wrong. And one of the comments read, if by relationship you mean codependent, toxic... Hold on. If by relationship you mean codependent, toxic, homoerotic friendship where everything goes unspoken and inevitably ends in disaster and blows up, not online in our faces, but in the faces of all adjacent friends and family, then yes, I agree. So that was so specific. It's like, if you don't like this person, if you're not with this influencer, what's stopping you from just blocking her? We're predicting relationships, we're predicting lifestyles, we're predicting downfalls. We're preying on them. I also want to just quickly throw in that actually one of the worst cases of this I've ever seen was Best Dressed. Best Dressed attracted some of what I'm gonna use a C word, but some of the absolute most obsessive, crazy, parasocial haters that I think I have ever seen on any platform. The way that people would nitpick everything she did was actually, some of y'all needed the straight jacket for real. You're not well. People found a way to come for Ashley for literally anything she did. Anything. They could find anything. When I'm saying they nitpicked the sponsors, the outfits, the pictures, the angles, who she hung out with, what she talked about, the way she spoke about it, her decor, anything. When I say anything that could be nitpicked, they not packed. If she breathed too deep in the mic, they were there. And obviously now she's no longer on YouTube, so it's not quite as vibrant, that community. But even to this day, I still see people finding a way to nitpick her 3 Instagram posts a year. There's one photo set of said influencer taking selfies in her home, I think. And the comment read, "This is honestly what I hate most about her." And someone replied, "So Jeremy." The photo, this person, she's wearing shoes and she's posed on her bed. This one might be +1 for the Snark page. But I will say, yeah, no, I'm not with wearing shoes inside your house. So, okay. You got me there. Oh my God, the title of this next one is not helping the rumor that she's a terrible neighbor. Like, how could you possibly know that? How could you possibly corroborate that? Are you the neighbor? Why would you care? What difference does that make to you who doesn't live next to that person? Why do you give a But you see what I'm saying though about the fact that when I'm scrolling through the pages and listing some of the comments to you, you're not hearing anything about that original controversy. It's just people nitpicking random things about this influencer. It's just picking apart random nonsensical shit that they do. And it's weird because you don't have to like these people. You don't have to follow these people. But like I said, I did want to talk not only about some of the comments I see on the Snark pages and give you an example of what I mean when I say these people aren't here to hold anyone accountable. They're just here to hate. And it's extremely weird, parasocial, obsessive, antisocial behavior. I also kind of want to look into as to why people are like this. And I think there's a couple reasons. I think first, the entire culture of internet call out culture has its own set of issues. Because on the one hand, while I do think its intention was good, it was about finally holding the people around us to some higher standard of the way they behave and the things they say online. I do think it also just attracted a crowd of people who actually just needed someone to put all their hate and anger into because they couldn't get it out in their own real lives. Don't shoot the messenger. Because a part of holding people accountable is actually leaving space for them to learn, grow, and become better. You don't have to forgive them necessarily, but if your goal is to punish them forever, let me caveat that right there. Some of the shit that some of your favorite influencers have been on here doing absolutely deserve a forever punishment. However, some of them absolutely do not. You don't even have to forgive these people, but you can just leave them alone. Not everything gotta be forever. But I think these Snark pages evolved beyond any actual accountability because I think those people who were really just looking for an outlet for them to cyberbully and they needed someone who they could justify doing it to needed to continue beyond the original call out, because I think even they even realized, I think, that after several years, if this influencer has actually apologized and for the most part the internet has moved on, they can't keep harping on this one thing forever. So when looking into this, one of the common themes that I saw for why people believe this happened is groupthink and like the allure of echo chambers. And with echo chambers, we all kind of end up in one or the other. You know what I mean? This is an echo chamber and it's my echo and I'm right. As well as mixed in with a little bit of what people call social comparison theory. Now, echo chambers online, I think, are places that we all kind of end up in. Like, we all prefer to have things and people and content on our timeline that more or less reinforce the beliefs we already have. No matter how wrong, baseless, or asinine, or even as inconsequential as some random opinion you have on an influencer. But I think specifically how that works when it pertains to the Snark pages is I think they end up in an echo chamber because they've dealt with something that I also found called parasocial betrayal. Parasocial betrayal can happen when the person who we've built a parasocial bond with betrays that in some kind of way, betrays the bond and trust we had in them because they said or did something that just wasn't in alignment with the version of them that we created in our head. And I think sometimes when you go through this kind of heartbreak or parasocial betrayal, it's a little bit different than going through some kind of heartbreak or friendship breakup in real life because you don't usually have anyone in your real life that you can talk to about it. Sometimes the people you see on your FYP are only being fed to you. Your friends have never heard of these people, and it might make you sound a little crazy to talk about them in the detail that you would wish to people in your real life who have no idea who this bitch even is. You know what I mean? You can go on a Reddit Snark page and make comments about a total stranger having fake plants in their house, and there's people there that are going to be like, yeah, LOL, that's so funny, so weird, we hate her. But you know full well, if you said that out loud in real life to one of your real friends in the material world, they'd look at you crazy. And then I think this also leads into the social comparison theory, where I feel like a lot of these people are even made to feel better about themselves because once that parasocial bond is switched from an extreme love to an extreme hatred, I think they can feel better about themselves being like, well, at least I'm not her.
Social comparison theory. Developed by psychologist Leon Festinger in 1954, he coined the term social comparison theory. The theory suggests that we evaluate ourselves based on comparing ourselves to others. When somebody hate watches, they might be subconsciously measuring their own life, opinion, and behaviors against the person that they dislike. It's a competition. When you perceive their flaws or failures, it might give you a sense of validation or superiority. Think about when you see somebody acting cringy or controversial online and your first thought is, at least I'm not like that. That right there, that fleeting sense of reassurance is part of the appeal.
You can tell yourself, well, at least I'm not so cringe. At least I'm prettier than her. At least I'm a good neighbor. Where maybe it's swapped from you wanting to be them to now making yourself feel better because you're like, well, I'm not as bad as them. And so you end up on a Snark page full of a bunch of people who are going through the same psychological experience as you, and you can validate. They're experiencing the same things, they feel the same way, and you've created a hateful echo chamber. And part of this video was also discussing the very obvious fact that it is almost exclusively what appears to be younger women in these spaces, and how I think that it's comparable but not the same to some of the scary right-wing spaces that we see young boys heading down.
I'm starting to worry that Reddit snarkers are becoming a kind of female version of incels, and not like incels in like the direct term of it, but just as a very socially dysfunctional online behavior, mainly displayed by one gender, with weird, destructive, antisocial behavior. I just want you to know, if you participate in these Reddit forums, there's no way for that not to be corrosive to your personality and how you think about yourself and how you treat the people in your real life.
And the reason I think it's not the same is because I think it's not quite as scary as like the pipeline that like Andrew Tate is leading young boys down, because he's leading them down a path that could actually cause real harm to real women in the real world. He encourages thought processes of misogyny, of actual abuse of women, of treating women as less than, of treating women as subservient. I think there's a lot more real world ramifications to like the dangerous spaces young boys end up in, whereas I'm not quite sure that these spaces are quite as real world dangerous. I think it's just a lot more interpersonally dangerous, and I am positive 100% that this has to seep in to the way that they interact with people in real life. A popular thought process that a lot of incels have is that, oh, I'm an incel but nobody around me could even tell, and they're always so wrong. It's like, I don't think that people can necessarily tell you are an incel, but people can tell that something about you is making them uncomfortable. And I think for a lot of these young girls, if you frequent a Reddit snark page, I don't know if we can immediately smell that that's why you're that way. You scaring the hoes, girly. But I feel like a healthy dose of self-awareness for these girls could be useful. Don't steal my clothes, but like, hey girl, steal my therapist's number. No matter how problematic these people may or may not have been, your behavior is not excused, because you don't actually give a shit about the things they may have done in the past that they got canceled for. You just need someone that you can justify cyberbullying. And I'm not sure where the pipeline is for a lot of these young girls, like where they end up, but it's starting to feel like it's the Reddit snark page to nursing school pipeline. And I'm tired of it, bro. So what is the point of this video and what is the wrap up? I'm not sponsored by any mental health services, but if your favorite influencer is, take that code. Go talk to somebody.
Stop it. Get some help.
And that, my friends, is the video. Me and the most parasocial banana that you have ever seen are grateful that you watched. As usual, I'm curious about how you feel about any of the people I discussed in this video. If you notice the weird parasocialism that exists online, how it's affecting young women, and where you think this pipeline is actually going, because I'm not totally sure. But as usual, if you've made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.